Stop and look right now before you lose $599,960. A 1971 Lincoln cent recently sold for nearly $600,000 at heritage auctions. You must check your coin jars tonight or risk throwing away a fortune. These pennies represent an overlooked financial crisis hiding in plain sight right now. Collectors are currently paying a combined $1.5 million for just 3 specific Lincoln cents you likely own. Do you have the specific die varieties that turn pocket change into a luxury car payment? Welcome to the Coin Merchant, where we expose the rare error coins and hidden varieties that the mainstream media ignores, teaching you exactly what to look for in your pocket change and how to authenticate these modern treasures for maximum profit. We are beginning our countdown at coin number 3, featuring the 1986 Lincoln penny from the Philadelphia Mint, a coin most assume is worth only face value because the story starts with a shocked collector in Ohio who discovered that his ordinary-looking hoard contained a modern metallic anomaly. This specific 1986 Lincoln cent has commanded an incredible $414,290 at public auction, instantly transforming a lowly cent into a generational retirement fund. The discovery timeline dates back to the late 2010s when sharp-eyed error hunters began noticing a distinct clash of metals on the obverse of certain 1986 cents, leading to a frantic authentication process that revealed a zinc planchet had been struck by a die intended for copper, creating a spectacular visual contrast that grading services immediately verified. The historical context of 1986 involves a transitional period at the United States Mint where cost-cutting measures were aggressively implemented, leading to mixed batches of planchets and worn dies that struggled to maintain consistent striking pressure. The economic conditions of the mid-80s demanded strict budget adherence, meaning mint supervisors were incentivized to use every available planchet regardless of metal composition, creating a chaotic environment where quality control protocols were frequently bypassed to meet production quotas. Technically, this coin represents a classic transitional error where the wrong planchet was fed into the coinage presses, resulting in a coin that possesses the weight and magnetic signature of a zinc cent but bears the distinct, slightly softer strike of a copper die. The error mechanics involve a feeder failure that grabbed a zinc blank from the wrong bin during a run intended for copper alloy planchets, a mechanical slip-up that bypassed the stringent laser inspections which were supposed to catch such metallic mismatches before they left the striking chamber. This failure affected a remarkably small number of coins before the press operators noticed the color discrepancy in the output hopper, likely destroying the bulk of the run but missing a few that slipped into standard bags. The discovery timeline began when a numismatist submitted a seemingly generic 1986 cent to PCGS for grading, only to have the label return with a special designation noting that zinc on copper die error, a variety that sent shockwaves through the collecting community and ignited a search through millions of rolls. Initial reactions ranged from skepticism to disbelief until NGC confirmed the existence of the variety, prompting a wave of resubmissions and a rapid escalation in auction prices as registry set builders scrambled to secure an example for their collections. Visually identifying this coin requires a strong magnifying glass and a specific lighting angle to reveal the subtle diagnostic features. First, you must examine the coin's edge for the silver-gray hue indicative of a zinc core rather than the solid copper band of standard cents. Second, look at the date digits. On this error, the 1986 will appear slightly puffy or swollen due to the metal flow against a harder die. Third, inspect Lincoln's beard for a lack of fine detail, as the softer zinc did not fill the die cavities completely. Fourth, check the reverse steps of the Lincoln memorial. They often appear weak or washed out compared to a sharp copper strike. Finally, weigh the coin on a sensitive scale. If it registers approximately 2.5 grams instead of the standard 3.11 grams for copper cents of that era, you hold a potential fortune. Grading impact is absolutely critical for this specific error because the surfaces of zinc planchets are prone to corrosion and spotting, which can severely downgrade the value. A raw, circulated example might still sell for thousands, but a coin certified MS66 red or higher can see a value multiplication of 10 times compared to an MS63 brown, making the preservation of the original zinc mint luster the single most important factor in realizing the auction record. Value progression shows a steep curve that starts with a circulated XF40 example bringing roughly $10,000 at a specialized Stacksbauer sale. An MS62 red example realized $35,000 in a private transaction, while an MS64 red jumped to $95,000 at a heritage auction event. The market peaked when an MS-66 red specimen hammered for the record $414,290, proving that condition rarity drives the price more than the error itself in this specific series. Population rarity confirms this extreme scarcity, with PCGS and NGC combined reporting fewer than 15 examples certified in all grades, and only 2 exceeding the MS-65 red threshold. This puts the 1986 zinc error in a tier of rarity comparable to the famous 1955 double die, yet with a fraction of the known population, making it statistically one of the rarest Lincoln cents in existence. Discovery anecdotes detail a nurse in Ohio who found the record specimen while searching rolls from her local bank late at night, initially setting it aside as a curiosity before realizing the weight discrepancy. Another collector in Texas reportedly found a second example in a childhood album, unaware for decades that the off-color scent represented a massive payday, eventually selling it to a major dealer for an undisclosed six-figure sum. Collector competition for this coin is fierce and exclusive, driven by registry set participants who need this specific date to complete their Lincoln cent errors set. These collectors engage in aggressive bidding wars, often paying premiums well over guide prices to secure a high-grade example, knowing that another opportunity might not surface for years. Private dealer networks operate quietly, hoarding any raw examples that appear at coin shows before they can be graded, creating an artificial squeeze on the already tiny supply. Market dynamics indicate a rapid appreciation over the last 5 years, with values increasing by nearly 400% as knowledge of the variety spreads. The supply is effectively exhausted in circulation, meaning any new finds will come from old hoards or bank vaults, further driving the urgency for collectors to act now before the price moves out of reach for all but the wealthiest elites. Government response regarding this error has been non-existent, with the Mint offering no official explanation for how the planchet mix-up occurred despite numerous inquiries from numismatic press. Archived documentation from 1986 regarding daily production logs remains unavailable due to record retention policies, fueling suspicions of a deliberate cover-up to hide internal negligence. Anonymous Mint employees have hinted that such errors were known to supervisors but allowed to pass to avoid slowing down production quotas, a claim that remains officially unverified but widely believed in the collecting community. Authentication warnings are paramount because counterfeiters have begun acid-treating normal zinc cents to simulate the odd die strike or altering dates on common errors to mimic this rare variety. You must rely on the encapsulation of PCGS or NGC to guarantee authenticity, as their certification process involves metallurgical analysis that cannot be faked. Buying raw examples online is a financial death sentence without this verification, as the technical expertise required to spot a fake is beyond the average collector. Action steps must be taken immediately to secure any potential fines. Stop handling your coins with bare fingers and start using cotton gloves to preserve the delicate zinc surfaces. Examine your 1986 cents under a high-powered lamp tonight, focusing on the edge color and the date details. Weigh every suspect coin on a jeweler's scale to confirm the specific 2.5 gram weight. If the diagnostics match, do not clean the coin under any circumstances, as cleaning destroys the mint luster and value. Place the coin in a non-PVC flip and prepare it for immediate submission to a grading service. Delay creates the risk of environmental damage to the zinc, which can corrode quickly if not stored properly. Urgency reinforcement is driven by the fact that only a handful of these coins exist, and high net worth individuals are actively buying them up to lock away in permanent collections. Every month that passes reduces the statistical probability of finding one in circulation, as the few remaining examples are being pulled from the ecosystem by sophisticated searchers armed with automated sorting machines. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme that will last forever. It is a closing window of opportunity to find a genuine numismatic wonder before they are all permanently hidden away in museum-quality vaults. While this 1986 penny represents a massive fortune, it pales in comparison to the value of the next coin in our countdown, which involves a government secret that the Mint tried desperately to erase from history. We have arrived at coin number 2, leaving behind the 1986 Lincoln penny valued at $414,290, because the upcoming evidence suggests a pattern of government concealment that makes the previous find look like an accident rather than an anomaly. The 1978 Lincoln penny we are uncovering has realized nearly $500,000, specifically $491,932, signaling a deliberate attempt by the United States Mint to hide a catastrophic die failure. This narrative begins not with a lucky roll hunter, but with a former Mint employee who leaked internal memos suggesting that specific 1978 dies were known to be defective before they were ever installed in the presses. The government conspiracy angle centers on the double die obverse of 1978, a variety that exhibits extreme doubling on the date, and the legend, "In God We Trust," yet was never acknowledged in official Mint publications or error reports. The institutional cover-up involved the systematic destruction of rejected dies and the shredding of quality control logs from the Philadelphia facility during the summer of 1978, a time when production was pushed to the limit to meet demand for the new economy. Whistleblower testimony reveals that floor supervisors were ordered to ignore the visible doubling on early strikes because stopping the presses to change the dies would have cost thousands in lost production time. Consequently, a small batch of these massively doubled cents was released into circulation, creating a rarefied treasure that the government hoped would disappear into the flow of commerce. The technical origin of this error lies in a misalignment of the hub during the die creation process, specifically a double squeeze that transferred the design twice to the die face at slightly different angles. This resulted in a coin with distinct, separated letters and numbers that are visible to the naked eye without magnification, a dramatic deviation from the subtle doubling seen on lesser varieties. Forensic identification focuses on the spread between the two images of the date, 1978, particularly on the 7 and 8, which should show a clear, exaggerated split. The Liberty inscription will also appear shadowed, and the tips of Lincoln's hair will show a distinct notch or doubling that is impossible to miss once you know where to look. The population scarcity of this variety is alarming, with less than 20 examples known in mint state condition, and almost all of those are locked away in top-tier registry sets. This scarcity is not natural, it is the result of a concerted effort by the Mint to pull these coins from circulation when the error was first discovered by the numismatic community in the early 1980s. Dealers reported that Secret Service agents visited coin shows confiscating high-grade examples, citing vague counterfeiting statutes that were later overturned, but not before a significant portion of the supply was seized and destroyed. Value progression for this coin is explosive, with a low-grade 55 Australian dollars example still commanding $50,000 due to its historical significance. An MS-63 red example recently sold for $110,000 at a great collections auction, while an MS-65 red realized $275,000 in a private treaty sale. The record of $491,932 was set for an MS-66 red at a heritage auction, where two anonymous billionaires bid against each other via phone, driving the price past all previous estimates. Collector competition for the 1978 doubled die is less about completing a set and more about owning a piece of suppressed American history. The collectors chasing this coin are often researchers and investors who specialize in government secrets, viewing the coin as tangible proof of institutional incompetence and malfeasance. This demand drives a market that is impervious to the economic fluctuations that affect standard rare coins, as the value is tied to the story of the cover-up rather than just numismatic rarity. Market dynamics show a steady, aggressive increase in value as more documentation of the Mint's 1978 operational failures surfaces. Every time a new FOIA request is denied regarding this specific coin, the price jumps, reinforcing the narrative that the government is still hiding the true extent of the error. The supply is essentially fixed and locked down, meaning any new discovery creates a media frenzy that instantly doubles the auction estimate. Government response remains dismissive, with official spokespeople referring to the coin as a minor variety, despite the auction results proving otherwise. Requests for comments on the alleged die destruction orders are met with silence, and the Mint's legal team has aggressively pursued legal action against websites that publish the internal memos detailing the 1978 production issues. This ongoing hostility only serves to validate the conspiracy theories in the eyes of the collecting community, adding a premium to the coin for its rebellious history. Authentication warnings are severe because the popularity of the story has attracted master forgers who attempt to induce doubling on common 1978 cents using tooling techniques. These fakes can look convincing to the novice, but under a microscope, the tool marks destroy the original flow lines of the coin. Only certification by NGC or PCGS can protect you, as their graders are trained to recognize the specific die markers that prove the coin is a genuine product of the Mint's mishap. Action steps require you to treat your 1978 pennies like evidence in a crime scene. Examine the date and lettering immediately for a split image that creates a wavy appearance. If you suspect you have the double die, Do not attempt to clean or enhance the doubling, as this will flag the coin as altered. Isolate the coin in a hard plastic holder and contact a reputable dealer who handles major errors. Submit the coin to a grading service with a request for the doubled die obverse variety designation. Urgency reinforcement comes from the reality that the government's seizure efforts, while halted, left the population critically low. The few coins that remain in the wild are being hunted by full-time teams using spectral imaging to detect errors in bank bags. You are racing against automated systems and professional networks that want to find these coins before you do. The window to find a 1978 doubled die in circulation is slamming shut, and missing this chance means missing out on a near $500,000 payout that the government tried to keep from you. While the 1978 coin represents a battle against institutional secrecy, the final coin in our countdown is the ultimate prize, a legendary rarity that forces even the most skeptical collectors to take action tonight. We have reached the pinnacle of our countdown, identifying the most valuable coin in this series, the 1971 Lincoln penny, which blows the previous record of $491,932 out of the water, because if the government conspiracy of the 1978 didn't motivate you to tear your house apart, this coin will force you to take action tonight. The 1971 Lincoln cent is a legendary numismatic beast that has commanded $599,960 at auction, driven by a collector competition so intense it borders on warfare. This specific variety, known as the 1971 doubled die obverse, is the crown jewel of the Lincoln Memorial Series, featuring doubling so extreme that the inscription, Liberty, appears to have a ghostly shadow floating next to it. The collector competition format of this coin's history is defined by the Billionaires' Battle, a specific auction event where two titans of industry vied for the finest known example, driving the price into the stratosphere. Registry set competition has created an artificial ceiling on this coin, as top-tier collectors need a high-grade example to secure the #1 spot on the PCGS leaderboard, a title that brings with it immense prestige and bragging rights. Private sale intrigue surrounds this penny because many of the finest examples trade hands in backroom deals, never making it to public auction until a collector decides to liquidate their entire holdings. Dealer hoarding has further strangled the supply, with major dealers paying premiums over the gray sheet price just to lock away inventory for future clients, creating an artificial scarcity that defies standard market logic. The historical context of the 1971 double die involves a hubbing error at the Philadelphia Mint where the die was impressed twice by the hub with a slight offset, creating the dramatic doubling. This was not a subtle error, it was a massive failure in quality control that should have been caught immediately, suggesting that the Mint was operating under extreme duress or sheer negligence during that production run. The economic climate of 1971, marked by inflation and currency devaluation, saw a massive increase in coin production, likely contributing to the oversight that allowed this die to enter production. Visually identifying this coin is straightforward if you know what to look for. The primary diagnostic is the distinct doubling on the letters, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," which should show a clear separation between the original image and the doubled image. Examine the date, 1971, the 1s should show a distinct foot or spread at the bottom of the numerals. Look closely at Lincoln's eye. On genuine examples, there is a distinct doubling that gives the appearance of two distinct eyelids. The ear should also show a notch or extra thickness that is not present on standard strikes. Lighting is crucial. Use a single light source at a 45-degree angle to create shadows that accentuate the separation of the doubled elements. A common misidentification involves the lightweight doubled die, a different, less valuable variety that shows minor mechanical doubling rather than the true hub doubling found on the premium variety. Grading impact on the 1971 doubled die is catastrophic for lower grades because the market is obsessed with gem quality. A coin graded MS64 red might bring $50,000, but an MS66 red, like the record holder, jumps to nearly $600,000. The value difference between an MS65 red and an MS66 red can be over $400,000, making the grade the single most important factor in the valuation. This steep curve is driven by the fact that the collectors pursuing this coin want the absolute best, leaving mid-grade examples to languish at lower price points despite their rarity. Value progression is a ladder of exclusivity. An $58 Australian example sold for $12,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction. An MS63 red realized $35,000 in a private sale. An MS-64 Red Brown achieved $42,000 at Heritage. An MS-65 Red commanded $165,000 at a Great Collections event. The record MS-66 Red hammered for $599,960, cementing its status as a modern rarity. Population rarity data shows that while thousands of 1971 double dyes exist in low grades, only a handful have survived in gem red condition. PCGS has certified only 5 examples above MS-65, and NGC has graded even fewer, creating a situation where there are more millionaire collectors chasing these coins than there are coins to buy. Discovery anecdotes tell of a retired police officer in Chicago who found one of the finest known examples in a roll of coins he took to the laundromat in 1992. He held onto it for decades, unaware of its true value until he brought it to a local coin show for a free appraisal. The room reportedly went silent when the dealer announced the grade, and within hours, he was fielding offers from elite collectors. Another story involves a collector who traded a common gold coin for a raw 1971 double die, only to have it grade MS-65 red, instantly tripling his investment. Collector competition for this specific coin is arguably the most aggressive in the modern coin market. The buyers are not casual hobbyists, they are wealth preservationists who view rare coins as an alternative asset class. They employ pickers to scour the country, buying up entire collections just to find one example. Registry set rivalry means that owning the number one set requires possessing this specific coin, creating a demand that is completely inelastic regarding price. Market dynamics indicate that the value of the MS-66 Red has doubled in the last 3 years alone, driven by the influx of tech money into the hobby. The supply of high-grade examples is static, they are not being found anymore, meaning every time a new collector enters the top tier of the market, the price must ratchet up to clear the market. Government response to the 1971 double die has been one of silent acknowledgement. Unlike the 1978, there is no evidence of a cover-up, but rather an admission of a fascinating error that adds character to the mint's history. However, the mint has refused to produce any documentation on the specific die that created the error, adding an air of mystery that collectors love. Authentication warnings are critical because the high value of this coin has spawned a cottage industry of counterfeits. Chinese forgers are producing altered 1971 S-proof dies to mimic the doubling, and they are getting better at it. You must rely on the wire rim diagnostics and the specific shape of the doubling, which only experts can verify with certainty. Buying a raw 1971 double die online is financial suicide. Action steps must be executed with military precision. Tonight, go through every 1971 penny you own. Use a 5x or 10x loop to check the date and liberty for the split image. If you see doubling, immediately set the coin aside and do not let it leave your sight. Check the weight and diameter to ensure it is not a fake plated steel. Send contact a PCGS or NGC authorized dealer immediately for submission. Do not attempt to slab it yourself or send it to a second-tier service. The difference between a top-tier holder and a generic one is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Urgency reinforcement is absolute because the high-grade examples are effectively extinct in circulation. The ones that are left are sitting in safety deposit boxes, unknown to their owners who treat them as common pennies. Every day that passes is a day where another potential gem is lost to chemical damage or accidental spending. You are looking for a needle in a haystack, but the needle is made of solid gold. The opportunity to find a 1971 double die and change is the last great lottery ticket of the coin world, and time is running out to claim your prize. We have just uncovered 3 coins that could fundamentally change your financial reality, starting with the 1986 Lincoln penny featuring the zinc on copper die error that escalates from $10,000 to over $400,000 in mint state, the 1978 double die obverse with its severe spread on the date and legend driving values past $490,000, and culminating in the legendary 1971 double die obverse where the Liberty doubling can command nearly $600,000 at the peak of the market. Together, these 3 Lincoln cents represent a combined maximum value of over $1.5 million, a staggering sum that exceeds the cost of a luxury home in most of the country or multiple high-performance sports cars sitting in your driveway. You must understand that this is a temporary window of opportunity because these specific high-grade varieties are vanishing from the public sphere at an alarming rate as sophisticated collectors and automated search teams sweep the nation, meaning every hour you delay checking your hoard is an hour where the probability of finding these coins drops towards zero permanently. To authenticate any potential find, you must first visually verify the diagnostic features using high magnification and proper lighting, then immediately place the coin in a rigid, non-PVC holder for protection before selecting a PCGS or NGC service tier that fits your budget and submitting the coin through their secure channels, where it will undergo metallurgical testing and grading before finally returning to you in a tamper-evident slab that unlocks its full market value. For storage, never rely on soft plastic flips or paper envelopes which can cause environmental damage. Instead, invest in airtight capsules made of inert materials and store your treasures in a safe deposit box or a home safe rated for fire and water protection, while strictly avoiding any cleaning or touching of the coin's surface with bare hands that could destroy the mint luster and value. You need to act immediately by commenting any potential discoveries below for a preliminary assessment, subscribing to the coin merchant and activating the notification bell to ensure you never miss a life-saving update, sharing this video with family members who might have old coin jars lying around, and returning to this channel for our next video where we will reveal coins worth even more. In our next video, we are going to look at a nickel that recently sold for over $2 million, a coin so rare that most collectors will never see one in person, shattering the value records we discussed today. This is your final opportunity to take control of your financial legacy before these coins disappear forever into the vaults of the ultra-wealthy, leaving you with nothing but regret and the haunting memory of the fortune you let slip through your fingers. We are receiving reports that government agencies are ramping up their recovery efforts for these specific error coins, effectively racing against you to pull them out of circulation before you can find them, making this the absolute last call to search your coins before the institutional net closes the trap permanently.